Lesbians are the only people who can make cannibalism romantic. This show has me Googling things and then having to blitz my search history. That's the truth. Ladies, is it gay to eat another woman's ear? Is it gay to tell another woman you love her by wiping your blood on her? Is it? Hi guys, welcome to a video, and in today's video I just wanted to talk about season 2 of Yellowjackets because I've just caught up and oh my god, there is so much we need to discuss. I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you are familiar with Yellowjackets, but if you're not, it's about a girls' high school soccer team who crash land in the Canadian wilderness whilst flying from New Jersey to a national tournament in Seattle. And the show follows the survivors across 2 timelines, documenting their attempts to stay alive in the woods for 19 months and exploring what their lives are like in the present day. Obviously, this video will contain spoilers, so you have been warned. Let's get into it. Honestly, I liked season 2. I know there's been a lot of criticism about season 2, which, considering some of the writing, is fair. People are allowed to critique season 2. Everybody has their own subjective thoughts and feelings. But honestly, apart from having to suspend disbelief slightly more than usual, in some places, I actually just really enjoyed this season. I did. I don't think it was as good as the first season. It was missing a lot of the eccentric charm of season 1. But considering the writers have to pad everything out over 5 seasons, it makes sense that season 2 would have a slightly different pace and tone to season 1 and a different feel to it. So I wasn't disappointed by season 2 in that way because I understand, you know. I don't know how they would even manage to keep up the chaotic energy of season 1 for 5 seasons. Oh gosh. And to be honest with you, what I love about this show is its portrayal of gritty female characters. It's so refreshing. And for the most part, I felt like the majority of the characters in season 2 were still going very strong. I was still very much sucked in by various dynamics. However, one thing I really missed in season 2 was the dynamic and the relationship between adult Na and Misty, which was very present in season 1. I adore the dynamic between those 2 characters. It's comedic, it's interesting. There's a lot of room between both of them for character development and for a lot of hijinks. The scenes write themselves with the both of them. I mean, those characters are so fun, and I feel like they kind of help each other to grow as characters as well. And there was a real lack of that in season 2, which I was kind of disappointed with because I live for those 2. I do. And I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm just gonna get right to it. I thought it was total bullshit the way that Nat died. She was a recovering addict and they chose to kill her off by having Misty accidentally stab her with drugs. Why? What was the reason? I'm not happy about it. I mean, it is what it is, but I will be ranting about that at various points throughout this video because Nat is a really important part of the show, and I think her dying is one of the worst things that could have happened to this show, to be totally honest. I've read a few things online about Juliet Lewis wanting to leave the show, and if that is the case, I respect her decision, but I think it's a huge loss. It really is. She's a talented and unique actor, and I think she's one of the reasons a lot of people tuned in to watch this show. So yeah. So on to the writing this season. I really felt like it was at its weakest in the finale, for sure. It left people with a lot of questions, including me. My most burning question is, what would have happened to Shauna had her daughter not turned up with a gun? Were they really going to hunt down and kill Shauna? Like, was that really going to happen? Because it might make sense for Lottie and Van to kind of be in that headspace, but not so much for Ty and Misty, considering they seem to be very much against the whole thing and were kind of like in favour of Lottie being committed. The other thing was like Lisa appearing out of the void at the last minute. I get she was used as a kind of like last minute redemption for Nat, which allowed her to like sacrifice herself instead of letting somebody else die because of her. But honestly, it just felt like Lisa appeared out of nowhere for no reason. Why? I know you have to suspend disbelief with this show. I do get that, but I felt like the writing was kind of going into lazy territory in the finale. Like, there is a bit of a line between suspending disbelief and just flat out ridiculousness. As I've mentioned 1,000 times, Misty is my favourite character on the show. She's my feminist queen. She's always got the ladies' backs. She also sometimes does kill a lady, but that's usually for feminist reasons, so it's okay. No one's perfect. She's perfect. She's perfect, and I want to marry her. I do just want to marry Christina Ricci. I know there's a queue, and I'm behind her husband. That's it. I don't think the writing for Misty was as solid as it was in season 1. I just feel like there wasn't as much room for her to kind of shine this season in the way that she did in season 1. And I know I keep saying this, but Misty works really well opposite Nat. A lot of that dynamic was missing this season, not just with Nat, but with a lot of the other characters, because a lot of Misty's storyline was kind of intertwined with the character of Walter this season. And I don't mind Walter. I thought he was really cool. He's pretty much just like the male version of Misty. And as fun and as quirky as they were together, I think Misty works best when she's contrasted against people who are not on her level of contained insanity and intelligence, you know? The thing is, this show is blessed with such a strong cast who tend to carry it even when like the dialogue and the writing isn't that great. Christina Ricci could just sit there and make facial expressions and it would work. I mean, there were some parts in season 2 where that's what was happening. It was just her making facial expressions and carrying the episode. Okay, so moving on to my favorite thing about season 2. It's the introduction of Adult Van. Now, I know some people hate Adult Van. They think she's this awful person, but this show is not about likable women. If you're watching this show to try and root for someone, to try and find a hero, it's the wrong show. All of these women are awful on some level, and that is why I love the show, and Van is just another branch of that, you know? I thought Lauren Ambrose did a phenomenal job as Van. You could not have cast a better actor to play that part. She nailed it. And the chemistry between Van and Ty is just insane. Like, it was just, I need more. I need to put it directly into my veins. Like, she stepped into the role of Van, completely embodied that character, and managed to have insane chemistry with Ty. I mean, perfect. I also loved Claire Fisher in 6 Feet Under. There was also a lesbian storyline in that with Claire Fisher, and I that's for another video, but yeah. I love her. That kiss in episode 7 has to be up there as like one of the best lesbian kisses that I've ever seen. Like, I'm serious. It was so layered. It was so passionate and feral. And at the same time, you saw the history of those two characters in that kiss. You were taken back to a time where they were starving and they were deprived and all they had was each other. Oh my God, it was so good. It was good. Episode 5 was a whole lesbian icon. I mean, Van has a poster of Jennifer Beals as Alex Owens on her wall. I have to stan. They also mentioned the watermelon woman. I mean, it's a great episode for reasons. Lesbian reasons. But as much as I enjoy Van and her relationship with Ty, I don't know how stable they'd be as a couple. To be totally honest, it seems a bit more fiery, which is great to watch, but I think for kind of longevity, probably not as great, right? I think Van having cancer is an interesting twist, because I think they're really going to do something with it in season 3. And I say it's interesting because Lottie insinuates to Van that her cancer is cured or she's going to recover because of the sacrifice that's been made. It will be interesting to see if that's actually the case next season. Speaking Speaking of lesbianism, there was so much homoerotic subtext between dead Jackie and Shauna. Ladies, is it gay to eat your friend's ear and then eat the rest of her? Is it gay? The way that Shauna was literally hungering for Jackie, it has so much subtext. Has obvious connotations to like romantic desire, and I think because so many people were shipping those two in season 1, myself included, they've kind of had fun kind of playing with that. I was definitely feeling some lesbian vibes between Lottie and Na. I think they had a real enemies to lovers arc potential. There was definitely a lot of chemistry between adult Lottie and adult Na, especially. It was hard not to ship them. This was the season of lesbian subtext, but also main text. Actually, that's every season. It's like Xena Warrior Princess all over again. Okay. As always, the acting was great across the board. As I said, this is a very solid cast. I could watch this cast just eat cereal. But I have to say, Sophie and Melanie's acting particularly stood out to me this season, especially the scene where adult Shauna is holding the car thief at gunpoint and she gives this kind of monologue about murder, and I was like, God damn, that is a fine piece of acting. And also the emotional range with young Shauna. She says so much without having to say anything at all. Acting wise, I definitely feel like their scenes are usually the most meaty. No pun intended. I don't know what was going on with Ben. I kind of don't even really see the point of them keeping him around. I think he's going to play more of a part in season 3. I think that is literally why they've kept him alive. He was just like a background extra who then tried to burn the girls to death. Yeah. Now the big question is, when it comes to this show, is there a supernatural force pushing the women, pushing the girls to act in a primal and depraved way? Or are they acting that way out of a need to survive, out of collective psychosis, out of their trauma? Is that what's happening? And I think when Lottie says, is there a difference in relation to those two notions in the finale, it kind of sums up the whole show. However, on like an official note, I think that they'll just leave it open-ended. I don't think we're gonna get an answer until maybe the very end, because of course that takes all the mystery out of the show and it is one of the talking points. There was definitely a big connection between the bees and the group this season. They make it quite clear, and for example, they talk about how the bees like gather around the queen, and there's a very obvious connection to Nat picking the Queen of Hearts, becoming a leader and consistently attracting the group towards her, especially at the retreat. But is Shauna now the new queen, since she also picked the Queen of Hearts and was also spared death in the same way that Nat was spared death? Will everyone gravitate towards Shauna in season 3? I really wonder what the writing is going to be like in regards to that, if they're going to stay with that concept, because I think it's really interesting. Oh, we'll see. Overall, I did enjoy this season, even despite the lazy writing in some places. I still enjoyed it. The music and the cinematography in particular were chef's kiss. As I say, it's a solid cast and it's hard not to stay engaged with actors of this caliber on screen. Moth to the flame. It managed to keep me engaged for the most part, which I take to be a good sign, you know? I'm not happy about the way that Nat died. I think it's really awful that they've lost Juliet Lewis. I think it's a huge blow to the show, but I'm holding out some hope that she may kind of return in some form in one of the future seasons. I mean, it could happen. What makes Yellowjackets unique is its portrayal of interesting, fleshed out female characters and their relationships with one another. And one of those interesting female characters was Nat, and she brought a lot to the table in terms of chemistry with the cast. The cast and their dynamic is what makes this show 100%, particularly with the adult characters, and I really hope they utilize that to its full extent in season 3, and hopefully somehow Nat and Misty are reunited at some point, because Okay guys, those were my thoughts on season 2 of Yellowjackets. I can't wait to read what you guys think down in the comment section below. Oh, it could get spicy. It could get spicy. If you want to support lesbian content and women's voices. If you did, you now don't. Okay. Come and join the Sapphic Underground Club. Just come and join it. It's pretty much just a monthly tip for the content that I put out. That's it. Just a monthly tip. Just a monthly tip. I promise not to eat your ear unless I get hungry. And then, no. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.